Hi everyone, Happy New Year, and welcome to our first podcast of the year. I'm your host, Lulu Horne, and today I'm with special guest Mia Humphrey, here to talk about her experience with classical ballet and how deciding to put that to the side has impacted her. Welcome, Mia.
Hello, so happy to be here.
So, I know that you've been in classical ballet for a majority of your life, but recently, over the pandemic, you decided to take a step back from that and pursue some other interests. How did you make that decision, and how has it impacted you?
Well, so I started ballet, classical ballet, when I was 7 years old, and I went to a Russian studio, Encinitas Ballet Academy in Arts, and I loved it for the longest time, and I was getting really good, and I was getting lead roles, and I was super happy. But then the pandemic hit, and the online classes were not my favorite things. And then at the point when we could go back, I had felt a little burnt out, and I didn't want to lose my passion for it because I was already feeling like, I don't know if this is what I want to do in my life. So I kind of slowed down, took a minute to decide, I'm going to take a step back, and that ended up being really good for me because it's opened a lot of doors. I've started climbing at a rock climbing gym, which is whenever I tell my family members that I went from ballet to rock climbing, they're very confused because it's kind of a complete 180. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to try something different. And
yeah, I know this age is often actually a time that a lot of dancers decide to take a step back because it's so strenuous and it's so time consuming, and it's hours of your life and it's very expensive at the same time. And these are the years when you're applying to college and really deciding where you want to take your life, and even something that you really, really enjoy, you can decide that it's doing you more harm than good. Did you feel similar to this?
Yeah, to an extent. I feel like part of me was feeling the pressure, I have to decide whether or not I want to go professional or just give my whole life to the art, or if I wanted to try something else. And I feel that I made that decision a long time ago, saying that I don't want to become a professional and I don't want to use all the hours in a day to just work and become better and keep improving. So, yeah.
So it was more of a continuous of this decision you kind of made a long time ago.
It came more to light. The pandemic kind of made me realize this isn't something I want to do completely, but I'm so grateful for it. I would not trade those years of practicing because I loved it, and it still holds a place in my heart, and it forever will. Yeah. So
I think that the pandemic actually was a really similar experience for a lot of dancers because, I've been dancing similarly to you for 10, 15 years, a long time, and I think the pandemic was an eye-opener for a lot of dancers because going online, you realize, do I have the time for this? And is this really what I want? Because when you're online, you're not getting that in-person experience. You're not getting the hands-on from the teachers, and you're not getting that atmosphere. A lot of people say the ballet atmosphere is pretty toxic, but I think around here we have a lot of schools that are actually very positive and very they're influencing you to be a better dancer rather than to be more stressed.
Yeah, I definitely had a super positive experience. I know that I'm very lucky in that aspect because I've heard a lot of stories where, constantly looking at yourself in a mirror is not the best for mental health sometimes, but especially in a dancer's environment, it can be toxic, like you were saying.
Comparison.
Yeah, exactly. So I was super lucky in the fact I didn't feel like it was a super competitive environment for me. Everybody was there just cheering each other on. So I was very grateful for that. But what about in your situation? Did you feel like it was competitive or?
What's always interesting for me is that our schools are almost like sister schools.
Yeah.
We have teachers who know each other very well. They're the same family. And I think it's interesting to see how that's different because like you say, it's not a very competitive, it wasn't very competitive there. But for us, I think it might have been, honestly, a little more of that toxic dance environment that you imagine when you think of ballet, because there's always those it's competition. Even though I was close friends with everybody at that studio, I still am close friends with many people from that studio. It's different when you're all fighting for the same role, because there were 5 of us who were really high level, really good. We went to competitions, we placed, we were up there. But it's hard to maintain a friendship when you're fighting against each other.
Yeah.
Because you want to get better. And what's surprising is actually a lot of us wanted to go professional. Oh. So...
Did you want to go professional?
That's the problem. This is a very, actually, different reason that I kind of stepped back. You stepped back because you realized that you have other things that you really want to prioritize in your life. But me, it was injury. It's been 3 years. You have injured legs. And I guess that's the life of a dancer, is that you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. You can't stop until suddenly you can't do what you want to anymore. So that was my main reason for stopping, is honestly I can't keep up. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. Which is too bad because I'm young. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely that aspect of realizing through the pandemic that, oh, these online classes aren't working for me, or I feel like I'm not getting that environment that I love and that I loved for years.
Yeah, it was definitely eye-opening, and I feel like I came to appreciate the people more. Like, I was so isolated and away from everything that I felt that, oh, the art itself, like, yes, I do love it and it's beautiful, but it's not something that can hold on to me forever. Like, I don't know, it's always going to be a part of me, like I said, but
yeah, and I like how you went into, like you said, it was a total 180 to go from ballet to climbing, but really I don't think so. I like how you decided to go somewhere that seems a bit different, but you use a lot of those skills that you've been developing, like flexibility and strength. Like, of course, you have to develop new muscles, you have to develop new techniques, but I think having that, like, base in place for discipline, 100%. It probably makes it, do you think that, has that been, like, helping you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think ballet in general, like, I credit it to the person I am today. Like, I mean, growing up in that situation where I had to be polite, I had to be respectful, but I could also have a good time, like, it helped form who I am today, and I'm very comfortable around people I need to respect, and I credit that to ballet. But for climbing, yes, 100%, because flexibility helps a lot, especially when you're shorter, because you have to kind of maneuver in a way that when you're taller, you don't necessarily need to, but you got to get a little creative when you're my height. So yeah, being flexible really helps you get on the higher footholds.
but also I think it's really amazing that you're doing that, because everyone knows about ballet. It's a thing that it's a cultural aspect of almost every country in the world. They have at least some form of ballet, even if it's altered in some ways. But climbing isn't like such a forefront. It's not so popular. It's not as much of like a piece of culture and art as that. But you decided to take that, and people don't realize like how difficult it is, because when you watch it, you make it look easy. So I think it's really cool that you're able to find a new interest.
Well, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's also like climbing. I have a fear of heights too, so that's a fun time. I think it's really helpful for me to go and climb and just get over that mental blockage of just climbing up the wall and getting all the way to the top and not looking down, not thinking about it, but being aware that I'm scared, but turning that into motivation. Because when you're at the top of the wall, you feel so triumphant, or like at the end of a climb, I found another passion, so I'm really stoked.
Right, that's really awesome. And then also, just one more thing, outside of finding like this new passion, this new interest of yours, how do you think like being able to make that tough decision will help you in like other choices you need to make, or just anything in life you've learned?
It was like I was pondering the decision to leave for a long time. After I had like the biggest role I've had in ballet, which was the Sugar Plum Fairy for the Nutcracker, I was like, okay, like that was awesome, but I think I'm good now. But I didn't have that push to walk away until the pandemic hit. So that kind of helped me make that decision. But I don't know. I'm definitely going to come across more decisions like that are going to be very telling for my future. And it was good to be able to have that experience in a positive way. like no repercussions or anything negative really happening. Like I'm still on really good terms with everybody from my studio, and there was no bad blood. So I think being able to make those decisions with grace and make them confidently, that'll be really good for my future. But then again, I don't know what the future holds, and I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do. But, you know, we'll have to be ready for it, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much.
Of course. I hope I asked or answered the questions.
Absolutely. Yes. All right.